Hey guys, here we are, the Quiggin Out MMA Podcast, and I'm already stuttering over my words. Here we are for episode 21, and we've got Enson Inoue. Thank you for that, and really, first and foremost, I already said it before the show started, but thank you so much for taking the time. It really is an honor, and I know you're sitting there shaking your head, nah, it's just me, but really it is. So,
Thanks, man.
um, so for anybody who doesn't know you, I mean, you've been in the BJJ world, in the MMA world, for decades, and I'm sorry to say decades, but it really has been that long. You know, you've had a black belt since 1999. You know, when most of the people probably listening to this show weren't even born. So,
Yeah, no shit, yeah.
so I kind of want to start off. You know, the whole reason I reached out to you was the whole IBJJF. You know, kind of snubbing you because they didn't agree with what your degree of black belt was. And I want to get to that, but I want to start off with how did you end up in jiu-jitsu up to 1999? That's where I want to go and kind of, you know, get a backstory of where you began your roots.
Well, I started jiu-jitsu because in Hawaii there's a lot of street fights, yeah. So I pretty much started jiu-jitsu. I was on the total hunt to hold on, let me grab something. I was in the total hunt to defend myself on the streets. So I went through a whole array of different martial arts. I went to Aikido, Hapkido, Taekwondo, Karate. I did all these different ones, and they all have their good points. But when I found jiu-jitsu, man, I was like, this is the most practical art there is for the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I found it was I was in college, and there was a little stand at the lunch areas, and there was a Brazilian guy standing there with a little TV
Mm-hmm.
playing the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in action video, and he's passing out flyers, just advertising that there's this non-credit course called Gracie Jiu-Jitsu that will help your self-defense. And that's pretty much how I got started. I watched the video to the end, and I was like, holy shit, this shit looks like it works, because they were doing all like against karate, against wrestlers, against this, taking on challengers, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in action 1, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at the guy was Homo Barros, and I looked at him and said, man, when's the first class? I'm there, man. And went there, and it had like, I must have had like 30 people in the class, half were women. So when we went in there, we all lined up, and then we found the partner, and then it was all this like, okay, he grabs you here, you swing your arm over, you do this, and it's like, wait, this is not what I saw in the video. So I went through the class, and then I still was just really dissatisfied with everything. So I went up to Helson Gracie, who was the teacher. I said, I saw Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in action, and I want to learn that. He goes, oh, but there's a self-defense course you have to complete before. I said, well, can I
skip that?
Can I wrestle with somebody or something? And when everyone left, there was a little black belt guy from Brazil that was there, and he said, yeah, you can roll with him. I'm like, oh, cool. And I looked at the guy and said, fuck, this guy's like 20 pounds lighter than me. I mean, he must know a lot of technique, but I'm way stronger than him. There's no way that can overcome my power. And man, when I got down with him, I think within like a minute, he had my back, and then he was choking me. And I was like, holy shit. So I tapped, and I was like, wait, okay. Something went wrong. You got lucky. Let's try again. And we did it 3 times, and every third time he took my back and took me out. And I was like, holy shit, I got to learn this. And that's where I just went head over heels right into jiu-jitsu.
And I think that's amazing because, we fast forward to, within the last year really, and you can go to certain schools in Florida now, certain colleges, thanks to Master Ricardo Liborio, and take jiu-jitsu as a credited course.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
I'm like, I wish we would have had that 10 years ago. I probably would have been training a lot longer.
Learn jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, right? So it's amazing for you to bring up a story where you literally were, hey, you don't get any credit for this, but we'll teach you something. And I feel like everybody feels the same way. They see jiu-jitsu, they see the art of it, and they go, oh, I want to do that. And then you get into class and they're like, all right, let's do a front roll. Let's do a shrimp. And you're like,
And
what is this?
that was in 1987 or 1988. That was before the UFC, before anyone knew what jiu-jitsu was. I was already training jiu-jitsu, and this IBJJF, association that was founded in 2003.
15 years later.
Recognized me.
And it's just crazy because if you're training, 1988, you started jiu-jitsu, and not to age either one of us, but that was the year I was born. So,
Oh God.
but realistically, you're still training. 33 years later. That's a testament to what the sport can do for you mentally, physically, everything else. And I wanted to bring up, you had a video about fatigue that was put out recently. I watched that 3 times before we started the show because that is the mindset. I started watching, I had a buddy, he's been on the show before, and he showed me the old Pride fights. I didn't know anything about MMA, and he said, you need to come watch this. And we'd watch like 6 hours at a time.
Oh, shit.
Like, the next thing I know, it's like 3 a.m, and I'm like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like, I gotta go. But I became, fascinated with it. And I came into the sport really late. I didn't know what MMA was until 2009. Mm-hmm. So, for all these people who've been training for decades at this point, I was late. But once I got hooked, I was like, this is the sport for me. I'm not a violent person, but why do I love this? And the more I learned about it, the more I took it in. It really just became that. And it wasn't until last year that I was really able to dedicate it to myself training. And I got my blue belt 4 months ago, and I'm going to say it every single show because I'm excited, because what you talked about in that fatigue video is every moment when you're out there and you go, fuck, I've got nothing left. And then you go 30 more seconds. You go another minute. You push yourself another 5. The next time you go on that mat, your fatigue level has changed. Your mental status has changed. Your physical. And I thought that was one of the greatest things I've heard because I've been telling myself that over and over. I tell people, white belts who are just starting, the second every second you're on the mat, you've just become better than somebody else and you've bettered yourself. So, sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but
I always talk about that in my seminars because the quest is getting better, yeah. And it's such a normal thing to, when you start getting tired, you're starting to fatigue. It's like, that's not good. I'm tired. I gotta rest.
Mm-hmm.
And with that mindset, as you know, the human body is a very, very strong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody quits on their body, it's a lot of times it's not because the body's failed. It's because the mind has told the body that they're done. Yeah. So I always found in my training that to play games with your mind, to find a way to convince your mind to continue, was the best way to actually be able to see what your limitations of your body will be. Because 99% of the times when people say I train till I drop, they actually really didn't drop.
No.
Their mind told them that there's too much pain, you got to stop, or you're going to drop, already underestimating the power of the body. So I found that with the mindset of, instead of taking the mindset of, oh shit, I'm fatigued, I'm not going to be able to lift my arms, I'm not going to be able to throw another punch, instead of taking that approach, take the approach that I introduce to people, that fatigue is not bad, it's good. When you get fatigued, you're learning about, you got that opportunity. A lot of people don't take the opportunity. Once they start fatiguing, they leave that situation, they rest, they get better, and they don't ever get to battle and see what they can do personally when there's a situation of, that they don't think they can go on. And one day you're going to face that situation, and it might be a life and death situation for your loved one. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't ever, been in that opportunity to to beat the fatigue or fight the pain, you're not going to be able to do it. And so I feel that, I always tell my fighters, man, when I see them getting tired, and say, fucking, you're right, you're getting tired. That's awesome. Now we can see how you can work under fatigue. We can build yourself now. You can build yourself stronger. You can learn about yourself. You can learn how strong your body is, So, that approach that I have is, fatigue is a good thing, man. And, the only thing in that video, when I watched that video, that I think I didn't explain good enough was I also said that, in the fight when you're fatigued, that's good. But that's only good if you're looking at the bigger picture. If you're a fighter just looking at being a good fighter and that's where everything stops, it's not good to fatigue, because you got to win. You got to do good in the fight. But when I fought, I never looked at just being a fighter. I always looked at what being a fighter is going to make me become as a man in a whole. So the fighter is just a step to become a stronger person. And a stronger person is important not just to win fights, but to save your family if you have a situation that you need to push yourself to save somebody. So for me, the reason why I said, when you get into a fight, you're fatiguing your fight, that's good, because now you can get stronger and learn about yourself, is because I'm not thinking of the short term outcome. I'm talking about long term outcome. So I think that in that video excerpt that they had in that seminar, that wasn't explained properly, that I wanted to touch on, because it's not about just the fight. It's about the person that is going to be there after the career's over. It's going to be there when you reach 70, when you're even at the day that you have to die. That strength that you build is going to make you die a strong person.
God, that was deep, but it's true, because anybody who doesn't know anything about the sport, you grab somebody off the street who knows nothing about it, doesn't understand how mental this game really is, whether you're training in the gym or whether you're in an actual fight. They don't realize, and I feel like the more we touch on that and how important that is, because I feel those moments. We have guard passing night, and there'll be moments where I'm like, I'm done. And the other side of my brain is going, no, you're not. You got to push through. And I might not put 100%, but I will push as hard as possible so that I'm at the point where I'm like, don't throw up. Don't throw up. Like, you're at that point. But you're absolutely right. And I love that, because I feel like if that was taught more, a lot more people would grow faster. They would grow in a different sense, because I've gotten to a point now where, I might be a blue belt, and it was funny because I'd watch fights before and I'd see somebody in a position on the ground and I go, why isn't he just getting up? And then I get put in that position and I go, that's why. I was like, I can't move.
Not that easy. Yeah.
And there's times where now I'm starting to be able to feel what's technique and what's strength. And I'll say it right out loud. And I'll say it to the person, I'll go, you're not using technique. I said, you're just trying to outman me. And I was like, it's probably going to work, but you're going to lose a lot of power. And I'm like, I'm not, the knowledge bank. I will take everything I get. And that's why I love the people I train with, and getting to talk to people like you, because you're reaffirming the things that are in my head that may not have been touched on, or nobody has really talked about, where it's a physical sport with probably 80% mental. And I know that's probably high, but realistically, if your brain shuts off, the rest of your body just does the same.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that thing about power, I always tell my students when I find them using power, is I tell them that, you're using power, and if you rely on power, there's going to be two situations that's going to happen to you one day. Is one, you're going to be too tired to use any power, or you're going to meet up with someone that has way more power than you, that your power has nothing to do with any technique. So that right there in that situation, you're going to have to rely on technique. And if you don't develop your technique, you're going to be in hell in that situation. So I always tell them that the only way you're going to develop technique is to abandon your power. And that was like the biggest lesson that I had when I started jiu-jitsu. I always was told, abandon your power, abandon your power, abandon your power. And it's understandable. The Gracies are as good as they are because why? Because they started jiu-jitsu before they had power.
Absolutely.
We're unfortunate. We're adults. We're naturally in a time of distress or anything. We're going to use our power. So we're unfortunate where because we started jiu-jitsu when our instinct is to use power whenever we're in a comfortable situation. We instinctively use power. So we have to consciously tell ourselves to abandon the power, which is super hard to do, man. But when you're 3 years old or 4 years old and you have no power, you got nothing but technique to learn. So I always explain to my students that's why the Grieces are so good. If you want to be really good, you gotta learn to abandon your power.
Yeah, and my nephew's 5. He's been training for I think 2 years
no
now.
Way. Oh shit!
So my sister wanted to bring him in karate, and again, this is my show, so I can talk about what I want. She wanted to put him in karate, and it was $270 a month, and she's a single mom. And I was like, you need to bring him to jiu-jitsu. And she said, where should I take him? And I said, well, take him where I train. I said, I trust our professor that much that I have no issues. First class, couldn't do a front roll, couldn't do nothing. Now, I mean, behavior issues almost disappeared completely. And
wow.
Professor and him and he's the smallest kid in the class. He's 5, but he is the smallest kid. Like, there are younger kids older than him, or, younger kids bigger than him.
Uh-huh.
You tell him something one time, he does a roll, he'll do it. And I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, why don't I have this? But I realized we started him so young.
Yeah.
You're right, because he is the smallest. He can't rely on power.
Yeah.
He has to rely on technique. And, there's times where he's in the side control and he's like, put your arm around his head. And he'll go, no, his other arm. And then 3 minutes later, he'll get in the same position and immediately go for the arm. And I'm like, I'm watching it. He took my sister down, an adult. Took her down. And everybody watching the video said, oh, you fell. And I said, no, he tripped her. Like, that was a legitimate trip. So
kids are like a clump of clay that's not molded. And we're like already sculpture, already molded and a lot of mistakes on it. And you got to scrape and carve it back. But the kids are so soft, the clay. You can just mold it into what you want. They absorb so much better, yeah.
And it's amazing to watch his progression because, I saw what he was before and what he is now. And, I mean, if he continues down this road, he's going to surpass me much, much faster. And I'm fine with I'm fine with that.
That's what you would like.
But he's also ingrained this family element to it where, my grandmother loves UFC. Loves wrestling. And I can say this now. So last weekend, my sister's actually dating an amateur fighter. And they told us last week they were expecting. So congrats to my sister.
Right on.
Yeah, so they're going to, if she has a boy, they'll have 4 boys in the house. Because he has 2 boys and she has. Yeah. So my mom's never been the violent person, never liked anything violent. Grandma's like, my grandma will text me like during a UFC fight night and be like, did you see that? And I'm like, are you watching this right now? And
that's awesome.
So last weekend there was an amateur promotion that actually did a fight card. Tables, social distance, everybody had to wear masks. I'm saying this so nobody gets in trouble because it was true. And sitting at the table was my 23-year-old sister, my mom, my grandma, and me. And my mom loved the fights. I could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. She is jumping like out of her chair, like looking at me going, what happened? What happened? What happened?
Oh, no shit. Wow, that's so awesome.
So for me, MMA brought in so now we literally have 4 generations really ingrained into this. Whereas 2-3 years ago, it was just me. Me and grandma. So it was great to watch because I would give advice to the fighter. I wouldn't say it out loud. I would just kind of say it myself. And then you'd hear the coach yell the instructions that I was saying.
Whoa, that's cool.
And my mom would look at me. She'd look back. They keep fighting, and I was like, oh, he needs to do this. Make sure you hook the leg, do this. He was going for a triangle. And you just hear, come on, adjust your hips. Hook the leg. And she looks at me again, and she's like, why don't you just be a coach? I'm like, it's not that easy. Like, I've thrown, I think, 3 punches in my life. And anybody who's watched the show has heard about this. And one of the bare knuckle guys made fun of me for it. Literally was in 10th grade. Kid was making fun of me, like girlfriend had just broken up, and I literally threw the punch, and when I threw it, my fist opened right before it hit his face. And I looked at it, and I looked at him, and I was like, I guess you're not worth it. And I just sat down, and I realized now, like, I look like a psychopath. But that's never been me. So to see, like last weekend will be something that resonates with me for the rest of my life, because my mom's never watched it. Didn't watch wrestling, didn't watch anything. My brother and I, we grew up watching wrestling. My dad had me watching wrestling. Like, I never got into MMA, and it kills me that I didn't grow up with it. But I feel like now I have a better appreciation of it.
Yeah.
A better understanding. Like you said, kids are clay. We don't understand. As kids, they don't understand everything that's going on. You watch some of those pride fights, and you're like, why is this guy fighting this guy? Now you watch it, and you go, well, pride. I was going to say it. You know what? I'm just going to say it. Yakuza. And then... Listen,
yeah, Pride was crazy, man.
And Pride for me, like, I watched more Pride before I ever watched the UFC. I watched more Pride before I had ever watched Strikeforce or WEC or any of that. And, like, now I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to go back and watch, like, the old Vale Tudo stuff. And I say old Vale Tudo stuff, but that's stuff you were doing. Like...
Yeah.
So, I kind of want to go through the journey of, you went through jiu-jitsu from 88. By 1999, you get a black belt from John Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty great. Like, and then we'll go back to the MMA stuff, but then you took an extended period of time off. Like, I think 16 years really away from it. If I read right, I did a lot of research, so it's all kind of
I took a time off away from it. I always trained it, but my concentration was more on MMA. So I trained and I rode in the gi, but I didn't learn the new techniques. I didn't keep up to date with anything. I just rode with my students. Yeah.
So how hard was that? I mean, you had done it for so long, and then you dedicate your life to MMA. And I mean, some of the guys you fought, Frank Shamrock, Randy Couture, which I rewatched the Randy Couture one. That was a slick armbar. Like, that really was.
Jiu-Jitsu 101.
Yeah, exactly. And you watch some of those older fights, and I say older because I'm like, the world's introduction to, or let's clarify. The U.S.'s introduction to jiu-jitsu was 1993, but the world had seen it, I believe, back in 1991, so a couple years prior, when they did the Vale Tudo, when they did, the this versus this versus this, as far as the stylistic and everything else. So, was it hard for you to kind of step away from jiu-jitsu to focus on MMA, or, like you said, you were still training, but you weren't as focused on it as you had been those prior 11 years?
Well, my love was jiu-jitsu, and then when I started doing MMA, I just focused on that. It wasn't hard to translate. It was just something that I felt like it was a movement that I needed to do. I was I had to get out of the jiu-jitsu mind. The fight that actually told me that I had to get out of the jiu-jitsu mindset was when I fought Igor Zinoviev. And up until then, we were told that the guard position is the advantageous position.
Mm-hmm.
In jiu-jitsu, yes.
Yeah.
In striking, when they can come on with force in the guard and punch you, no. So it was a big wake-up call for me. And I realized that, man, I got to get out of the jiu-jitsu mindset, and I have to get into the MMA mindset now. I can't play bottom and think it's safe anymore. So I it was something that wasn't something that I had to actually figure out and decide. It was just a natural movement. Like, shit, I got to do more MMA.
Well, I mean, that was 1996. So
yeah,
you
you did your research.
I might be cheating. There's a reason. There's a light over here. If I try to remember all this stuff, but that's the thing though. Like, I'll remember random dates and random it just happens. But because once I get dedicated to something, like that's my focus. Like that is my brain. 99%. Like go. I need to know everything there is, and I love learning more about a sport I thought I knew a lot about. The more you learn about the lineages and the different teaching and everything else, and especially like when your story came up, I don't even think I waited 5 minutes to reach out to you. When I saw that story about them shunning you, because I was like, why? And I'm just gonna say somebody said this, and I'm sorry for any of my family that's listening, but when I mentioned your name to somebody in my dojo, his face lit up, and I told him what happened, and he said, "Fuck the IBJJF."
Oh, really? That story is real interesting because a lot of people are messaging me, and most of the gist of the whole messages that I get is, "Don't worry, as long as we know, everybody knows that you're legit, and don't worry, you're black belt. We understand, we agree that you have a black belt, but." The whole thing with me wasn't about me being certified as a black belt. I really don't care. I mean, if somebody thinks that I'm not a black belt, I know myself that I got it in 1999. I'm a 5th degree now. I know that myself. I don't need anybody else. I don't need any association. I mean, my fans, my students, and my instructors all know that. That's all I need. I mean, you're going to have your haters. You're going to have these people that don't agree. So, when people message me, don't worry, we know you're legit. I mean, yeah, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about that. The only reason why I did that was because my purebred team, especially my Guam team, they've been flying that purebred flag since long ago. They've won the Asian Open, which is run by the IBJJF. They've won the team competition with the most points for 5 or 6 years in a row.
Jeez.
In IBJJF, the purebred team has been entering the Asian Open since 2008.
12
and
years.
It's
12 years.
Yeah, and it's man, it's the only reason why I made the movement that I did was if you notice when I do seminars, I don't have any degrees on my belt. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I'm a black belt, whether you believe it or not, whether I'm a 5th degree or a 4th degree or whatever. I don't care. My journey isn't about how high I can get. My journey is about doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do that. So it's like when I went to the Asian Open last year, I noticed that my team was under TAC team, which is another family gym. Is from Jared Weiner. He in Pennsylvania with BJJ United, which is super cool. I mean, they're like brothers to us, so we'll gladly fly their flag. But it just, for me, was like, oh, wow, what a bummer. You guys, purebred has been taking all the team stats, and this year it's like there's no purebred. So I went up to the head instructor, Steve Roberto, and I said, hey, what happened? How come you guys not flying the purebred flag? You guys should keep up that tradition. And he goes, well, he explains to me that the reason why purebred was a legitimate team was because one of my students that was a 4th degree, he was the one that they registered under. Wasn't my name, was my student. He passed away. So he passed away. So what happened with that was, I'm assuming that because he passed away, he wasn't able to pay his dues. So because he wasn't able to pay his dues, he was no longer a registered black belt under IBJJF. And of course, because they register under him, the team loses its certified status, which is ridiculous. So I didn't realize that. I thought it was, the teams have been such a solidified team in the IBJJF for so long. I told Steve, I told Steve, why didn't you do it under your name? He goes, well, I'm a 3rd degree. I need a 4th degree to okay it. And Jared Weiner was kind enough to okay it, but because he got it okayed by Jared, they had to go under their flag. So I said, oh shit, what can I do to help you raise the purebred flag again? And he said, Enson, if you could just talk to the Japan Association, let them know you want to register yourself, pay your dues, do your referees clinic, whatever you got to go to get the certification.
Yeah, CPR class, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I said, fine, I'll do all that. Okay, if that'll help you guys, I'll do it for you guys. So I went downstairs that minute. Nakai Yuki, who's the president of the Japanese Federation, Jiu-Jitsu Federation, I talked to him. I said, hey, I need to get my certification because I need to fly the purebred flag. And I want them to represent under my name. He goes, oh, Enson, no problem, man. You gave me my blue belt. He's the highest ranked Japanese black belt there is. And he goes, you gave me my blue belt. You taught me jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows who you are. That's not a problem. So he said, let me contact the head office and I'll get back to you. Nothing for like a month. So I finally called Nakai, and he gives me he puts it onto Uematsu, which is another black belt in Japan. And I talked to Uematsu. She goes, Enson, I'm really sorry, but for some reason, to be honest, I think they really don't take Japan seriously. Every time I feel like, Japan is where jiu-jitsu started. How can they not be serious? Yeah. So he said that he said Namerariteru is being like you're just kind of kicking off us on the side. I said, you know what, Uematsu, don't worry. With Corona, we can't have the one this year, so don't worry about it. There's no rush. Just let me know when they get in touch with you. He calls me 6 months later, Enson, I'm sorry, they still haven't gotten back to me. I said, bro, don't worry. I know you're on it. Don't worry about it. He finally calls me last week, and he has this weird tone, apologizing. I'm like, what are you apologizing? He goes, Enson, I'm embarrassed to tell you this. I said, what? He goes, they said that because you've never registered in the IBJJF before, they will not acknowledge your black belt. And I said, whoa. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. And I said, oh, wow. I said, you mean, so what do I do? He goes, man, Enson, I don't know what to say. He said, maybe call Henzo or John Penederis, try ask them for help. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, shit. So what I did was, when I put it out, it hit the news, yeah? After that, Barrett Yoshida goes and writes to IBJJF saying, hey, he's a 3rd degree, he's a 3rd degree now, a 4th degree now. And he said that he explained to them in the letter, I got the copy of the letter, everything, that, Enson Inoue is trying to get his certification so he can register his school, and it just seems to be a problem. IBJJF wrote back to him and said that, well, Enson has never been a member. What he needs to do is first apply for membership, which is, of course, pay the money, which is I'm cool with.
It's like okay. $400, isn't it? It's like,
well, pay the money, and then they said, even if I do that, what's going to happen is I'm going to be considered a provisional black belt, which interprets into
you're not really a black belt.
You're deciding, and it's going to take 2 years. So they said being a provisional black, I looked it up. It's saying that you're not acknowledged as a black belt, but you're in consideration as a black belt for 2 years.
What does that even mean?
So I looked at that and I said, my instructor in Guam, Steve Roberto, is probably due for his 4th degree in 2 years. And if you're a 4th degree, you can represent your own entity in the rules. So he wouldn't need me to do all that bullshit because he can fly the flag of purebred again. So even if I went through this whole process, I wouldn't be able to do anything until Steve can do it himself. So for me, it's like I wasn't doing it for myself. I mean, I wasn't doing that for me. So if that's the case that I can't help the purebred team to fly the flag and Steve Roberto will be able to do it before me, we may as well do that. So I just backed off, but it was cool because, I got a message from John Lewis saying that Andre Penederis wants to send me a certificate of my 5th degree black belt. Like, whoa, that's pretty cool. I never thought I'd get any. I never asked for anything like that.
No.
I never cared. I'm like, wow, shit. And now I didn't care about putting my stripes on my belt. But when I get that certificate, I'm going to put my stripes on my belt and take a picture and send it to IBJJF.
Well,
I even got a message from Henzo. Henzo's telling me, Enson, what the hell is going on? I'm going to call him tomorrow. So I'm still waiting to hear from Henzo, but Henzo will verify me. Saul Ribeiro even said he'll verify me, but I'm under John Lewis. I'm not going to go under Henzo or Saul. As much as I respect those guys, I take honor in the flag that I fly, and it's John Lewis's.
And I have goosebumps right now just from that right there, because none of what you're doing, you didn't put that story out there as a pity party. You didn't put that story out there because you were like, damn. You literally put that out because you're like, I'm trying to do this for my school, for my team. You weren't trying to get in there and compete. You weren't trying to go in there and beat everybody and show them how I'm the greatest in the world. You were doing that literally just for your team. And I feel like part of their issue, which I don't have any research on this, but just based on, what I know, when you demoted yourself to purple belt again, which I still think is one of the coolest things I've ever heard. And it's because you don't hear about that. You don't hear about anybody, taking it back. When you have martial artists who take up another martial art, we've got professors in the gym who are black belts in 2 or 3 other, martial arts. They come in as a white belt. They don't come in they don't go, oh, I'm a black belt. They take this belt off, give me a white belt. We had one of the guys I trained with who I think he was almost a purple belt. And he came in and took 3 classes at our dojo, put a white belt back on. He was like, I have so much.
That's how I felt.
So what was that like for you to take the black belt off and go to the purple belt? Because I feel like the IBJJF knows about that. It's not hidden. And I feel like when you re-promoted yourself back to a black belt, I guess we're going to call it that, that's probably what they have an issue with.
Well, the story behind that is it's real interesting. I think no one ever really sees this point of view that I actually came about with this whole thing, but I never re-promoted myself. What happened was I just second guessed my decision because of the people that I talked to. Okay, so this is what happened.
Okay.
I went into the gym finally to roll with the guys that I haven't rolled it for a long time. My purple belts and my brown belts and everything. And I realized right there that the art, the technical part of the art has surpassed me where I left. And I was lost at a lot of things that was happening. It was also due to my flexibility, my conditioning, my movement is slowed down. And I'm trying to move like I remember, but all of a sudden the guard is not as easy to keep. They're doing this Baron Bola on me, and I'm thinking, what the fuck bullshit. And this De La Hiva shit. They got my arm trapped. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, So I felt that this is what I felt. Is a lot of these thoughts changed after I talked to John Lewis, but I felt that if I'm a telephone expert and I go into hiatus or whatever it is, and I disappear for 10 years, and I come back into the cell phone world, and my time I left, it was a flip phone, and all of a sudden 10 years I come back and they're smartphones, and I'm like, I honestly can't call myself a cell phone expert anymore because the cell phones have changed. So that's what I felt, and I felt, okay, my level is probably like a purple belt, and you know what, to be honest, it wasn't meant for the whole world to jump on. It was just my Facebook, my personal journey, and I like to share my journeys because I think people can learn from your journeys. When I did the 900-mile pilgrimage, I logged everything so people could see my suffering and learn from it. So that's all I did. I was sitting down with my purple belt in class and about to train, and I looked at my girl and I said, "Take a picture. I want to post it and let everyone know what's happening." Because I know a lot of people probably have that same situation happen to them, taking a break off jiu-jitsu. So I did. We posted that picture, and fuck, dude, the whole world went crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, I'm still that significant. That's pretty cool, man. But okay, so the whole world went crazy. I got podcasts. I got like I even had some articles written on that situation in a different language that I couldn't even read. All kinds of articles.
That's pretty awesome.
And I had a lot of people, saying the humility that you showed was amazing and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't think it was a humble thing to do. I just thought it was real, just being real about it. And then I had a lot of people messaging me in support. I had, like a lot of current champions saying, Enson, we respect what you're doing. And then there are some old school guys that were pissed off saying, oh, what the fuck are you doing? That's bullshit. And I realized a lot of the guys that were pissed off about it is people don't roll anymore. So they kind of took it like a personal message of me saying that you're not a black belt because you don't know how to roll anymore. But I wasn't, man. It was just totally my personal journey. And I was just logging. It wasn't a target at anybody. Okay, so the interesting twist that happens is 3 days I have my purple belt on.
3 days.
3 days. I talked to John Lewis, and he tells me, Enson, I don't agree with what you're doing, but if you want to do it, I respect that. But I just want to let you know also you're one of my I don't give up much black belts, and you're one of my proudest ones. And I'm kind of bummed about it, and I kind of explained to him that, I'm not, if I get my black belt again, I'm still going to honor the black belt I got from you. And he goes, okay, I said, I just got one thing to say. He said, I don't see getting your black belt as being a phone expert. I see you more like getting your doctor's degree. I said, okay. And I'm thinking, okay, where is this going?
Yeah.
He goes, okay, Enson, if you took a 10-year layoff of med school, of medicine, and the technology and the medicine has surpassed you, if you decide to practice again, do you go and take off your name, the doctor off your name, and you go and start your bachelor degree and you go? No, you learn and update yourself as a doctor. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
And then he said something that really is going to put a twist in everyone's head. He said, Enson, you know how they're saying you're humility, you're humble? He said, you know what the problem is? And I said, what? He said, lack of humility as a black belt. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. And he goes, and then I thought, and I said, you know what? It's so weird because I felt uncomfortable rolling as a black belt on my waist, and my purple belts are passing my guard, or I can't pass my purple belt's guard. So I was like, and then, you know what was really weird? When I had the purple belt on, when I was in class, I didn't care if I couldn't pass their guard. And I was like, holy shit, without me even realizing it, John Lewis hit it on the nose. I lacked humility as a black belt. So, I was getting all these props about being a humble person, but in all honesty,
it was in the wrong way.
Black belt, and then that opened my eyes, and I was like, "Oh shit! I gotta grow up. I gotta get stronger. I gotta accept that I'm a black belt, and with a proud face on, keep a straight face and be proud that I'm rolling as hard as I can. I can't pass my purple belts. If he sweeps me, cool. You know what I mean? I mean that's." I learned a lot about that, man. It's still today, people don't get that message and tell me that was so humble of you to do that. And I kind of want to tell them, no. I lacked humility as a black belt. But that story is so fucking long to tell about. It's like, I just think, okay, you can think I'm humble, cool. That's cool too, I guess.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because again, there's conversations you have with people in the gym, and again, brand new blue belt. But you have those conversations where they go, I'm not learning anything. I'm going out there, I'm getting smashed by everybody. This isn't fair. I'm not learning anything. And I'm going, yes, you are. Every minute you're out there, you're learning something. And I like to say, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who said this, but every black belt has forgotten something that a white belt just learned.
Yep. You're right.
And I said, you'll do something. I said, when you have that much knowledge, when you have 20, 30 years of jiu-jitsu experience, you can't retain all of it. Your body might retain it, but your brain might not.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I love that you just explained that in that way, because you said your humility as a black belt, you didn't feel like you matched up with them and you were getting passed by them. And that's the hardest part of jiu-jitsu in my mind. The humility, because you have to go in there and go, this isn't, you're training. This isn't win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. This is, did I learn something? Did I do something that bettered me and bettered the people in my gym? Because while this is an individual sport, I feel like jiu-jitsu itself is definitely a family environment. It's definitely like a team. You could say team, but I feel like it's a family. Like, I feel like the people at my dojo have become family.
A lot of dojos are run like that. That's awesome.
And just because it got brought up in this situation, so the fight that happened Saturday night, my sister's boyfriend's opponent's family was at the table next to us.
Oh, shit.
And they were a little asshole.
Oh, shit.
So they're like spilling beer on us. Like, we're trying to like be calm. And, my professor was there and a couple of the guys from the gym, and they kind of saw the situation unfolding, where we were kind of getting surrounded inadvertently by this family. And at one point I turned around to kind of tell one of the guys, like, hey, you need to, like, take a couple steps back. And my dojo family was there. They were the people behind me, and they had pushed all of them kind of away, like, hey guys, we're all adults here. Like, yeah. And I'm like tearing up about it when I talk about it now, which is very strange because I didn't expect that. But it is that family. And you have to understand. So, like, the humble aspect of it is, I've had nights where guard pass night is my favorite. We have 4 10-minute rounds. One person stays down, goes through everybody. That to me is my favorite night of the week. Because that's the night that shows who you are.
Yeah.
That's the night where you learn it's here, not just your heart, not just your body. It is your mind.
Yeah.
And
the mind interferes, a lot. Yeah.
And it's just crazy because you go in there and you go, I'm gonna give one of my purple belts a hard time, and if he hears this, he's gonna give me shit next week. So I got a sweep on a purple belt last week, and it was because I felt a change in his base. I didn't see it, I didn't expect it, but I felt it. And I said, awesome. As you learn, that's just something that happens. So for you, like, I still think it's a humble move that you did. I know your coach didn't agree, or your professor, your sensei, whichever you want to, refer to him as. John Lewis is a legend, so let's not even go there. But for you to do that is crazy and great for me too. Because anybody who listens to this who's just starting out, who gets discouraged about, I just got my blue belt, I get passed by a white belt. Okay. Don't let it happen next time. But that person is learning from you. And when I got my blue belt, one of the brown belts pulled me aside, and he was like, don't you fucking quit on me. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, a lot of blue belts, once they get a blue belt, they disappear.
Oh, yeah, that happens, yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, we have spent too much time on you. You have spent too much time in here to give up now. So he's like, get your shit together and keep training. So I have my goal of purple belt by 2023. I think I can do that. But I really do love, and that's when I saw this story, I didn't think of you doing something super selfish or super humble or you did something you felt needed to be done. And I love the cell phone explanation, because I did electronics retail for years. If I went back now, I'm not going to be the same expert I was before. And I'm going to want to be at the bottom of that rung and have to relearn everything all over again. But it doesn't mean I didn't have that knowledge before. So thank you.
So, that story, I think it was just easier for me to roll with people as far as humility-wise with a purple belt on instead of a black belt. And it also proves to show that I'm really not worried about the belt and the degrees, man. That's just something that I earned and I've wrapped around my waist. But I'm easy just to say, okay, I'll put on a purple belt. Fuck it, you know. And it was funny because what if the IBJJF has an issue about that? What they didn't really do is follow the story, because I was thinking of demoting myself, and 3 days later, John Lewis corrected me, and I decided, and I also made a post after that I've decided to continue with my black belt. So, you know, it was like I called John, and after John told me that, I was like, oh fuck, I made a mistake. I should still put my black belt on. I made a fucking mistake. And I told him, shit, this shit hit like the world news. What I'm going to do now? And John Lewis straight up told me, Enson, don't worry about what everyone says. There's going to be haters. There's going to be lovers. You know, if they're going to hate you for that, let them hate. Because if you decided that that's the wrong decision, then do it. Put on your black belt. And I said, yeah, I think I will do that. And he said, then don't worry about it. So I didn't really go through a point of actually letting people know that this is why I put on my black belt again. I just said that, you know, I talked to John Lewis and I've changed my decision, and I decided to continue wearing my black belt. You know, so I mean, that's a story that, you know, there's so much detail in the story that you don't get to tell everybody unless we got an opportunity like this. You know, so it's good that you're giving me an opportunity to let the whole story out in detail.
And I think that's even better, because in 3 days, you had a literal enlightenment. For somebody who's been training for years, it took 3 days and one phone call of somebody saying, I don't think that was the right decision. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we talk about humility over and over and over again. And part of this, even if you're a black belt, whether you're first, second, third, fourth, fifth, doesn't matter. You still have to have humility. You can't be, you know, if one of your purple belts passes your guard, you're like, but in the back of your mind, you're like, yeah, like, that was great. You know, you don't feel like, and I feel like 3 days is not a long time. You know, that's a long weekend for some people. But in 3 days, you literally went backwards in your mind and then exceeded where you were mentally to get back to that point. So I think it's really cool, because I did look a lot about this to see how long you were a purple belt, to see how long it took for you to get back. There's nothing. And that drives me nuts. Yeah. And that drives me nuts, because I'm like, I want to know. And, you know, I try so hard to not overdo research, because then people start asking you the same questions, the same things over and over and over that you've answered. I'm not going to ask you your favorite ice cream, because I know it's vanilla or coffee or something.
Oh, you know
that. What I did think was funny in that interview, though, is that you said your favorite fighter was Khabib, and 2 years ago today is when he beat McGregor. So let's give him a round of applause.
Oh, wow, right on.
So it bothers me the most, because I called that fight within 1 round. I said Khabib's going to win. 3rd round, rear naked choke.
Wow, shit, pretty close.
Or it was either 3rd or 4th. Whatever the actual result was, I was 1 round off, and I just went, everyone's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, Khabib is well-rounded. He's an actual martial artist.
Yeah.
Who doesn't talk shit unless he needs to. And you
know what the problem is now, though?
Everything.
I also love Justin Gaethje, man.
So I got to see Justin Gaethje fight. I've only got to see him fight live once. And he was fighting in World Series of Fighting. And we can say that on the show, because, you know, in the UFC, they can't say other promotions' names.
That's so stupid, man.
And he fought Melvin Guillard. Melvin Guillard came in overweight. And I just remember him putting on, like, a clinic in front of my eyes. And I'm like, this dude is, like, the shit. And then you saw him coming to the UFC. He had a couple of missteps. But what he did to Tony Ferguson, like, I would have bet a whole paycheck that fight wouldn't have gone anywhere the way it did.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I still don't think he beats Khabib. And I hate to say that because I love Gaethje because he's exciting. He's a different kind of person inside that cage. I
had to put money on it. I put it on Khabib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gaethje also has 100% finish rate.
And his wrestling takedown defense is super good. And he hits a ton.
And I think for this, that's going to be the factor. You know, when we had, you know, GSP fighting Koscheck, you know, the wrestling kind of canceled each other out. And GSP went for the striking, which nobody expected him to do. So I feel like if the wrestling gets completely canceled between these two, like, Gaethje has the advantage in striking, hands down.
I believe that too, yeah.
You know,
because Khabib still can hit, he can strike, but Gaethje can take a punch like you wouldn't believe.
Plus, I'm going to say it now because it's on the show. I think Gaethje's going to throw a rolling thunder. Why not? He hasn't done one of those in a while, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I love Khabib fighting. Like, I know, you know, they had the whole controversy, and let's be honest, what he did versus what has happened over the last 2 years in MMA, drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's mad at
Khabib as a martial artist, man. He's a martial artist, a respectful martial artist, man.
Yeah, and I mean,
and not only that, fucking kicks ass.
Yeah.
I would respect him alone, even if he didn't kick as much ass as he did. Just his demeanor, the way he takes things, the way he is, you know. I mean, it's so respectful. I mean, he's a martial artist fighting in the modern day today where it's more entertainment sport.
And I was going to talk about that too, because you had the fight, you know, last weekend with Izzy and Costa, and, you know, everything that happened. And I hate that I have to say this right now, but the dry hump at the end that Izzy did. And I'm like, I mean, that's not really the worst thing that's happened in MMA. I mean, yeah, it wasn't exactly what we want, but go back to Tito Ortiz flicking people off. Go back to McGregor throwing a dolly at a bus full of fighters. Like, there's stuff, like MMA now, like, the stuff that happens in the cage, that's like the least of your problems. That's the moment. And, you know, you've been in there. You've been in a cage. You've been in a ring. You know, tensions, I'm sure, are there, but how do you feel about them going towards more the entertainment route, you know, versus somebody like Khabib who, you know, I feel like Khabib was justified in what he did, and I know a lot of people disagree with me when he did.
I agree. He was justified.
Because I was like, he went after his religion, his family, and his character. At that point, listen, you're trying to build up a fight. Even Nick Diaz and GSP, all this shit they talked, you know, at the end of their fight, shook hands, hugged. That, to me, you know, that's building up a fight. It's what you have to do. We're in a business where that happens. But I know a lot of people go, oh, that was so out of line. No. He saw him. He knew about that before the fight. There's no question in my mind. Do I think he thought he was going to jump over the cage and jump at Conor's training partners? Probably not. But in that moment, so.
Well, you know what the whole problem is in that whole situation? Nobody's wrong. It's what's happening is you got a martial artist in the sports entertainment world. That's why Khabib what he did. Khabib did what he did because he wasn't selling a fight. So because he wasn't saying shit to sell a fight, everything he was told, it wasn't in his mind, it wasn't to sell a fight, it was personal. And I think that Khabib did really well, because if it was me and I was in that mode, a martial artist mode, and taking everything personal, that shit would have happened before the fight. That shit would have happened at the weigh-ins, at the press conference. No one would have stopped me from getting and punching Conor in the face. So the fact that he actually waited until after the fight, I thought was real control of him, because that's the problem. You got two people in there, you know, like you got Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate, where Ronda Rousey's like a martial artist taking everything fucking personal. And you got Miesha Tate kind of like, you know, I'm just building the fight and, you know.
I'm just here to fight, yeah.
Let's put it water under the bridge. And I look at, you see Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate goes to shake her hand, her hand, and she's like, I don't want to fucking shake your hand. She looked like a real cunt right there, She looked like a bitch right there. But you know what? When I saw that, I was thinking, that just shows that Ronda is not playing this sport shit. She's a martial artist, taking shit a little too personal maybe, but she's taking it personal. And if you're not on the same page, that can make someone look like an asshole. If you got someone selling shit, saying all this shit, knowing they're selling it, and this guy has no clue and takes it personal, he's going to look like a dick the way he acts to it. If you got two guys selling, of course, they're going to hug each other after the fight because they know they're selling and they know a lot of it wasn't meant.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. You got martial artists mixed in still with this sport now becoming entertainment. That's the thing that, it's really hard. I think these guys who's holding on to those values of being a martial artist is having a hard time adjusting to this sport / entertainment section. What I feel about that is I'm a hypocrite. I have mixed feelings because I'm super stoked. Martial arts has made me who I am today. My name, the bigger martial arts gets, the bigger my name gets. So I'm super stoked that you go to Vegas now and you can see fucking mixed martial artists on the billboards, man. You only saw like Stevie Wonder, you only seen like Muhammad Ali, these huge names on those billboards. You got guys that I know on the billboards now, like Khabib's on the billboard. You got guys that I actually know personally that is on billboards now. It's like, I'm super stoked, but I do also understand this because of the entertainment section. It's because they've cut down some rules. They made weight classes. They made it more publicly viewable. They also, they allow the shit talking because it's part of the entertainment to sell the fight. I understand that. But on top of that, I'm a hypocrite because I'm super bummed that we're losing the martial arts aspect of honor and respect to your opponent. So I can't really say either or, but all I can really honestly tell you right now is that although there is so much more money and so much more future in martial arts today, I am super happy that I was in the era of martial artists.
And that's the way you have to look at it. And I love that you brought that up because, again, last weekend, my sister's boyfriend's opponent missed weight by nearly 10 pounds.
Whoa!
For a 145 title fight.
Wow, unacceptable.
The title fight was still on. So if he had won, it would have been his belt. And I'm like, why? Like, how is this even possible? But, so the fight ends. There was an illegal knee thrown. There was an eye gouge that wasn't called. My sister's boyfriend reaches out to the other guy's hand to shake his hand. He said, man, that was a great fight. And the dude looked at him and goes, suck my dick.
Oh, God.
And I'm going, you missed weight by almost 10 pounds, and you're going to be the asshole?
Yeah, really, man.
So, we talked about, you talk about the entertainment, and it's really funny. I happened to catch one of Muhammad Ali's fights last night. The ESPN was showing a bunch of his, and it was when he was fighting Terrell. Mm-hmm. And they were doing, like, the interview where they were recapping the fight, and he's doing the side-by-side. And the announcer says to him, don't you think you were being a little unprofessional? And he's like, unprofessional? He goes, at the end of the day, I signed on the line to hurt him. He signed on the line to hurt me. Whatever happens in between, it's part of the fight. And I love that because watching that interaction, you could tell the guy interviewing him was incredibly uncomfortable because Muhammad Ali was getting heated. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, I got a tongue lashing from my coach afterwards because I was talking during the fight. There's nothing against talking again in a fight. If we're talking about a sport that is much mental, if not more mental than it is physical, if you're able to talk to your opponent during a fight, go back to Glover Teixeira and Anthony Smith a few months ago, like one of the first main events without fans. And Glover has Smith's back, and he's punching him. And he goes, sorry, man, it's nothing personal. And Smith goes, what? And he goes, it's not personal, it's just business. And Anthony Smith goes, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, mid-fight. Like, that to me, there's a difference between talking and taunting. You know,
Yeah.
and we talk about the entertainment aspect. So, you know,
Did you know me and Heath had dialogue?
What?
You know that me and Heath Hearing had dialogue during the fight?
Oh my God! Tell me about this. Tell me about this.
Did you when I fought Heath, he had the key lock on my arm was kind of, and I'm not a flexible person, so my elbow was up here, yeah. So my elbow, my elbow, I think my elbow and my shoulder cracked a couple times, yeah. Like there was I guess ligaments moving or
God.
yeah. So I heard it pop a couple times, and he actually went and looked at the ref and said. He told the ref, if you watch the fight over, you'll see him talking to the ref. He said, it's cracking. And the ref looked at me, and I looked at the ref. I'm okay.
No, I'm fine.
So he goes and looks at me and goes, I'm going to break it. It's going to break, he told me. So I looked at him in the middle of the fight, and I said, if you can break it, dude. And then on top of that, right after that, then with my free hand, I started hitting him on the side of the head. So
now we're gonna watch.
That was a dialogue that actually went on in the midst of that real crucial point where he possibly was going to snap my arm at the moment.
And it's crazy because you look at Heath Herring's track record. 2 or 3 fights come to mind. You know, the Brock Lesnar fight in the UFC, but then the kiss of death.
Oh shit!
That's in here. That's not up there. That's in here. But that's one of those moments where you're like, that was somebody who's a martial artist, not an entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was somebody who was like, I'm not dealing with this shit. Are you serious?
Was there any repercussions on Heath for that?
I'm sure there was, but none that we knew about.
Because the fight didn't go on because of that, huh?
Let's see. Hold on.
That was hilarious, man. And you know, when I saw it, I was thinking, shit, I don't know. I might have done this.
He was disqualified immediately.
Oh.
And then his cornerman attacked Herrig, and a brief fight ensues.
Oh, shit.
Like, come on, man. So, the fight has since been changed by K1 from a DQ to a no contest, as they ruled his kiss and his subsequent knockout punch as both fouls.
Oh, shit. Okay. That's cool. No one got really punished.
That's funny. Like, no matter what.
They didn't get the fight.
No. But can you imagine, like, getting all that time to prepare for a fight, and then your opponent just kisses you? And if you look, like, let's talk about that. Herring did not move. He didn't back up. He didn't, plant. He literally just went, boop, right hook, out cold. That's scary.
It was instinctive, yeah? It wasn't planned. It was instinctive. Like, what the fuck? Boom.
And I'm like, that's what most people would do.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And the guy he kissed was kind of dumb not to be prepared for anything.
Why? I mean, and it's happened a few times. It doesn't make it as widely known, but I'm sure it's... I believe there's 2 other times where fighters have done that, where they've gotten too close, and I'm just like, you gotta know, like, there's gonna be a repercussion for that.
Yeah. That's too funny.
Now I'm just thinking, now I just want to watch it. Because afterwards he yells at the ref like, I'm not a homosexual. And it was the only thing you could hear in the dialogue. Like, it was the only thing you could hear in the arena. And I was like, oh my God.
I'm going to watch that again too now.
But that's the thing, like, watching Pride, you got to see that stuff. You got to move into, like, the K1 world. Like, one of my favorite guys in Pride, and I hate to say this to you of all people, was Igor Vovchinkin.
Yeah, he's good. I like him too.
Because that dude didn't look like anything. And it was just one of those things where you're like, I don't remember who he fought. I'm trying to look at it now to see if I can remember. But he fought a dude, and he hit him in the corner, and the dude's just falling down, and he just goes bop 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 3 times before the dude hits the ground.
Francisco Bueno.
Oh my God! How did you do that?
That's the fight that made me want to fight Igor.
Really?
I was in the second row, 3 seats away from his girlfriend or wife, and when Francisco Bueno's wife, when Igor knocked him to the ground, she started screaming. And when he didn't get up, she started bawling, saying stuff like he's fucking dead, he's dead. And just that whole fucking drama and that whole thing. And Bueno's a huge boy. He's a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
And for Igor to knock him and roll his eyes back on one punch and then connect with him a couple more times before he hits the ground, as he's still white-eyed.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I saw the whole drama of the girl screaming on the side. I'm sitting there standing looking at Igor thinking, fuck, I gotta feel that fear. I gotta stand in that ring, and that danger of being rendered unconscious in one punch, that fear zone you're gonna have. I saw it and I said, that was right there. I was saying, I gotta fight Igor. That's
crazy.
the fight that made me want to fight Igor. Yeah.
And you went 10 minutes.
Yeah, and everyone told me not to. They said I told them I want to stand toe to toe with Igor. I want to stand in that fear zone. And you know what's so interesting? It brings up a good point. I called it. There's something I call Yamato Damashi moment. It's a moment when you're gonna be stronger in your heart. You're gonna grow stronger in your heart. There's situations that I call Yamato Damashi moments that are moments that you literally hesitate on what to do. Like, fuck, what should I do? And the reason why you don't want to do it is because of fear. And you're either gonna fight or you're gonna flight. So you're either gonna say, fuck it, I'm not doing it and turn away, or you're gonna say, fuck the fear, I'm gonna do it anyway. And your Yamato Damashi moment and my Yamato moment might be different.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it depends on, like, I might not think something's scary, but you might think it's scary. So for you, that might be a Yamato Damashi moment. So it's not on the person, it's a situation. So if you watch that fight, I plan to fake a tackle because I assume that he thinks I'm going to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to throw blows toe to toe with him till somebody dropped. So if you watch that fight again, I faked the tackle. Everything went as planned. And as soon as I threw that first 1-2, I clinched. I clinched because of the fear. I was like, fuck, I don't want to. Remember Francisco Bueno? I'm thinking, I don't want to be at the edge of all that. But that's the reason why I went in there. And I remember standing in the ring before the fight, looking at Igor and looking at his hips and his legs, the girth. And I know that's where punch power comes from. Yeah, you know his legs and his hips, man, is so thick. I looked at it and said, holy shit, that's where the power comes from. And I remember that. And I think that moment, seeing that, when I threw that 1-2, instinctively the fear kicked in and I grabbed him. It was something that if you watch the video, he tried to break away from me. It lasted about 2 seconds maybe at most. But for me, it felt like a minute. And for me, what I realized right there is I was going through a Yamato Damashi moment. I was in the midst of trying to force a takedown, or am I going to just break and face the fear and throw toe to toe? And if you notice that, you could see it kind of like, fuck, I just let go. And we just went toe to toe, So for me, it was a real significant moment in myself as a man. It was a Yamato moment that I passed with flying colors. People just see that as like a little instant in the fight. But for me, it was a real defining moment in my character and as a man, as me as a person.
And that's crazy, really, to think about that, because again, you see 2 guys clinch up, 2 girls clinch up, 2 seconds, boom, they break off, and you're like, well, that was pointless, but that meant something for you. Like, that was something here, and it was an oh shit moment. That's the American way to look at it. Like,
oh, that moment, yeah.
Because I can't say what you said as eloquently as you did. You're saying it so fast that I'm like, I'm just gonna butcher it. But that moment, you're right.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I might go watch that tonight. So.
Yeah, watch that because now that you know, if they have the ring entrance too, in the Igor fight, watch two things. Whenever I wake a ring entrance, so watch me walk into the ring and remember, don't think it's just a fighter walking the ring. This is some person who's accepting that he is possibly going to die tonight in the ring. When I'm walking into the ring, I've accepted in my heart. I've written letters to the people that I love, and I haven't really set much dates after the fight because I didn't think that I was accepting that today walking into the ring was going to be my last day alive on earth. So when you watch me walk into the ring and you see the intensity, you see me walking in there, remember that that's what I've believed in my heart. The last 3 months of training, I believed that this is going to be my last day. Okay? And the second thing to watch in that is, when I'm clinched up, just remember it is like a slow motion battle going into my head. Like, fuck, Enson, you're going to throw down. What are you fucking doing? And then there's the other side saying, fuck, man, but that's too dangerous. And it's just like this little dilemma going on that was literally 3 seconds, but for me, it was an eternity. And I feel like I succeeded and I won, I let go, and we went for it,
And my mind is just blown right now because you see all the quotes and it's, live as a man, die as a man, become a man. Somebody's playing music outside. Sorry. I'm like, this is distracting me because it's 11 o'clock at night. But those moments, I guarantee you, not a lot of fighters go out there and go, I might not make it past today. And I think they're so focused on who the next guy is or what to do after that fight that the next 15 to 25 minutes could be your last. That's a really shocking revelation to kind of think about because no other sport has that.
Yeah, are you actually taking that risk? Yeah.
There's no sport, and I mentioned this, when I was explaining fights to my mom, because again, I'm still blown away by this, but I said in football, you can't have a team that's up 48-0 with 30 seconds left win the game.
And win with one pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have fights like, God, I hate bringing this one up. Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva, the first one.
Yeah.
Where Chael just dominates for 4.5 rounds and gets caught with a triangle. So the way I like to look at it is I watch rounds 1 through 4. I shut off the fight. I start up their second fight and I watch the first round as the 5th round. And I just forget about what happened.
Interesting.
Because that's exactly what it is. You see fighters, 4 minutes and 59 seconds of round number 5, they're getting a finish. When they've been losing the whole fight. Nothing is like this. Absolutely nothing. But for you, like, I still have chills thinking about you writing letters to people you love, like not planning your future after that night.
Yeah, what was really strange too is if I fought on the 15th and I had a guy come to me and say, hey, we got a big party on the 18th, man, we were invited, and it's like a lot of chicks going to be there, it's going to be cool. I always had this real weird strange feeling like, oh fuck, that's after my fight. And I always felt like, fuck, man, if I'm imagining the moment that actually driving to the party thinking, if that moment actually happens, it's a good time because I didn't die in the fight. It's that I've really accepted it in my heart, really. And you know what? A way to prove that is people think that I'm tough because I've never tapped in my life in the fight. And they think I'm tough. It's not about being tough. It's mindset. If I'm prepared to die, and not just words, not just saying, yeah, I'm ready to die in the fight, and then when I get in trouble, I tap out. No, I was literally prepared to die. If you get choked out, you're probably going to wake up. You get your arm broke, are you going to die? Not at all. So it's a real interesting thing because I didn't tap because I was expecting the most extreme thing, and I accepted it. When anything before that happens, you're not going to freak out and tap. A perfect example I always say is like if you go into a casino and you're willing to lose $10,000. If you lose 8, are you gonna freak out? No, you still got 2,000 because you already accepted you're gonna lose $10,000. Mm-hmm. But if you go to a casino saying I can't lose more than 5,000, and somehow you lose that 5th, and then you pull out another 100 to put 5,100. All of a sudden, you're like fucking panicking already.
Yep.
Like, what am I gonna do? I only plan to lose 5,000. I'm going over it right now. You know, I mean, that's kind of like what I go into the fight with. I go into the fight thinking that I'm gonna die tonight. There's a chance I'm gonna die, and I accept it. I'm gonna give everything I got till I die. And a broken arm ain't shit. You know, getting choked out ain't shit. There's a 99% of chance you get choked out, you'll wake up. So, you know, I mean, me not tapping was pretty much mindset
and
accepting.
That's crazy. Like, but that's a way to look at it. You know, you go into a fight with a submission specialist, you're like, he's probably going to tap me. In your mind, you've already beat yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, you've already gotten yourself to a place where you're not going to be 100%. But if you're literally saying, I'm going to die tonight, there is nothing holding you back.
Nothing's going to scare you in the fight. Nothing's going to make you get into a point of wanting to quit or give up. You're still alive. And if you do die, you won't even know it. My mom would hate it.
Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, so you know the Igor fight too, even when, you know, if you watch that fight, there's sometimes you could see he connects with a real huge shot. I think 2 or 3 times in the fight, I looked over to my corner and I kind of went, I'm okay. They didn't ask me. I was just doing that because I was just letting Igor know that you got to do more than that to even fluster me. I'm okay, man. He did, because he knows he just hit me with a solid shot. And most people would start defending or start cowering up. But I look over at my corner and say, I'm okay. I mean, that's what I have fucked with his brain a little bit. You know, like, what the fuck, this guy? I got to kill
him. And that's the crazy thing, because by the time you fought Igor, oh, that's not me. Let's see. He had 48 fights.
Yeah, he had a lot of fights.
Like, jeez. But again, 48 fights where he's beaten people, and up until you, he had lost 3 times. So for him to hit somebody that hard, for him to, you know, like you said, you mess with him mentally, that is a martial artist game.
You know what's crazy too? You know what's real crazy that was real good for me in that fight? Is I proved to myself that my mind overcame my body. Because if you look at the last round, you know, after the, you know, when I was laying in the ring and Egan came in to ask me if I'm okay, I was, in my mind, I was so dizzy yet. I was thinking, I need a few fucking seconds to lay down and collect myself. And when I did that, Egan looked at me and said, I'm going to stop the fight. And when he said that, I was like, fuck that. And you should see, I try to get up, and because I kind of got up probably too soon before I collected myself, I couldn't find my legs under me. I was like kind of like almost like it was weird because my legs didn't feel like it was my legs, because I was trying to walk, but my legs were dragging behind. And then I got to the stool, and then I was thinking, the only thing in my mind on the stool, you know what was in my mind, wasn't my safety. My mind was, I cut him. If we're going to start on our feet in the second round, I'm going to fucking rip open that cut with more punches. That's all was in my mind. And then when the doctor came and started looking at me, I was saying, fuck, don't even check me. I got 2 minutes. Great. I'm okay. And as soon as he checked me and saw my eyes were dilated, he waved it off. I didn't realize this, but if you watch the video, you could hear me screaming, no. It wasn't it wasn't conscious of me, but it was pretty much my spirit screaming out saying, fuck, let me continue, you know. And little did I know that I went into the hospital straight from the fight. I went straight into intensive care where they had a 24-hour nurse for 2 days. I couldn't get up and pee on my own for 3 days. I had a perforated eardrum, broken finger, broken jaw, and I had a swollen brain, and I had the liver the count 2,000 times a normal man. But I wanted to fight. Unless I had a month or 2 months in between rounds, I couldn't fight physically. But mentally, I was so for me.
Can I get a timeout for like 2 months and we come back to this round? We'll be good.
What people don't know is that the reason why I fought was become a better man, not a better fighter, to become a better man. If you notice the fights that I picked, it wasn't fights that I could win. It was fights that I thought would push me to a level of awareness and fear and trials that I had to overcome. You know, so for me, right there, when that happened, I realized that there was nothing the ring will be able to teach me as a man to become a stronger man. And that's why I decided to retire. It's not because I was physically done. It was because I felt like there's nothing more the ring can teach me. My mission in the ring wasn't to win a belt, wasn't to be the best fighter in the world. My mission in the ring was to develop myself as a man, to be strong and let me control my emotions, no matter what happens. So I felt that in my life in the future, if I had to face a life in that situation, I could still think level-headed and save myself or someone that I love. And that's what my journey in the ring was. I saw a show when I was little that was a car went over a cliff and the car went upside down. And just because of the panic the father had, he got out of the car, but he couldn't open the door for his family to get out. It was on fire because he was in panic. And they all died in the fire. And when I saw that, I looked at it and said, fuck, he opened the door 1,000 times before. Just because it's upside down doesn't mean he can't open it. But he couldn't even find the handle. He was panicking, trying to hit the car, and he just lost his whole thought process because he was in panic. And so I used fighting as a tool to learn, to be able to control my emotions. You know, when I was in racquetball, I could hit a shot 99 times out of 100, but when I get into the tournament, because there's a referee, there's a crowd, and I'm nervous, all of a sudden my accuracy percentage goes to like 50%. And it's only because of emotions. And so when I pick my fighters, I always pick fighters that I thought would take me to that place where I could practice controlling my emotions.
Well, and I mean, that murderous row that you fought, Kerr, Vojemskin. Like,
you know, look at the fights that I fought. I fought Kerr after he just demolished Hugo Duarte, who was the only guy who really challenged Hickson and gave Hickson a fight on the beach. I fought Heath Hearing after he just beat up Tom Erickson, which is supposed to be like the beast of wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I picked all these fighters. Igor, after I saw him knock out Francis Bueno, I picked these fighters. You know, I see today, and I know that the mindset of the fighters today is totally different from me, because I see Conor saying, I want to fight him because I know I can beat him in the third round. Like, for me, I'd be like, I fight him.
Yeah.
So the objective is totally different. Yeah. So when I fought Igor, the reason why I took one more fight and fought Heath was because I felt I can't just say bye right now. In honor of all my fans and all the people who helped me in my career, I'm going to give them one more fight, and I fought Heath. But Igor just pretty much told me that, Enson, your step. This is the final step in your career as a fighter. You've learned all you can, and it's time to move on. And that's why I moved on. I'm still healthy today. I didn't push it to the brink. I stopped not because of my physicalness. I stopped because my objective was my goal was conquered.
Well, and you fought, what, 4 more times after Herring? 5 more,
Yeah,
5 more.
I fought, okay, so I fought Herring because I wanted to give a little farewell. The reason why I fought Nogueira is because I was going to enlist in the army after the terrorist thing.
No.
After 9/11, I was going to go and enlist and fight the war on terror. But I felt that I'm probably going to die in war, or I'm going to come back not able to even do anything as far as martial arts. So I felt that I'm going to give a farewell fight to my fans before I go to war. I wasn't able to enlist because of my tattoos.
Get out.
Yeah, you can't have a tattoo. You look it up. You can't have a tattoo out of uniform. You can die for your country, but you can't have a tattoo out of uniform.
You can die before you're old enough to drink, but you can't have a tattoo.
Yeah, that's fucked up shit. Yeah. Okay, and the last time I fought was when I fought in 2013. The only reason I went in the ring that time was because I went to prison for marijuana in Japan.
Say for weed, right?
Yeah, and I didn't want the last image of my fans and the people around me to see me on TV handcuffed in front of the police walking to prison. I wanted to just clear that. In order for me to fight, I had to get drug tested so people knew that I was off. I wasn't doing any weed anymore. And I wanted my last thing for people to see me in the spotlight in a positive light instead of a negative light. And that's the only reason why I went into the ring the last time.
Yeah, and I mean, that was 10 years ago.
Fuck, I know. That's
Right?
crazy. Huh? That's amazing, huh?
Again, I wish I knew all this off the top of my head, but I'm definitely cheating right now. I'm not even going to lie to you. but I love that mindset, and I think the sport, you're right, the sport has lost a little bit of that. The sport has lost a little bit of, I'm going to fight this guy because I know I can beat him. No. You need to fight somebody who's going to push you and make you better, because you see those fighters.
Yeah.
You know, and Conor's a great example, and I hate talking about him because he doesn't deserve any more press, and I'm just being honest, and I'm sure that's going to piss a lot of people off, blah, 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 whatever. Don't care. The man could literally do anything, and people just go, when's he fighting again? Oh, he's fighting Pacquiao later this year? All right, cool.
Him and John Jones.
Yeah. And we were talking about John Jones last Saturday. We do it used to be white belt class on Saturdays, but it turned into fundamentals. And we go in and everybody just goes, Coach goes, hey, what have you had a problem with this week? What do you guys want to learn? And we go through that. And after class, I was talking to Joe, and we were talking about Jones, and I said the moment that Jones changed was his fight with Rashad. Because when he fought Rashad, his old training partner was UFC 145, everyone said, oh, he couldn't put away Rashad. I said he wasn't trying to knock Rashad out. He didn't try to submit Rashad. He went in there to show all 5 rounds, I can beat you in every single aspect of this game. And that was the day that Jones changed from humble to developing into the character he really is. And I love watching John Jones fight. But the antics outside the cage just ruined it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Conor. And then you watch guys right now who want to fight, who want to be involved. You know, I know the Gilbert Burns and the Kamaru Usman fight just got postponed, and there's a lot of people vying for it. But I'm like, Gilbert Burns has looked amazing. And the dude's just like, I just want to fight. He's not punching people in bars. He's not crashing cars. He's not doing coke that we know about. Like...
that we know about.
Listen, whatever you guys do in your free time, that's your own thing. But this isn't wrestling. This isn't a drama. This isn't a TV show. This is real life. And I feel like, to be completely honest, if more people carried your mentality that you had of, I might die tonight, it sounds incredibly, like, just ridiculous to some people now. But that mentality is what carried you and made you who you are. Mm-hmm. That's the person of character. That's who you've developed, and that's, you know, you've probably taught at this point hundreds of people, thousands of people.
Thousands, yeah.
Whether it's been one-on-one, whether it's been distance, whether it's been somebody you met one time, you've taught somebody something. And at the very least, I hope if anybody has gotten anything out of our conversation, it's change your mindset. You know, being humble and doing the right thing sometimes aren't always the same thing.
You know, a message I have to fighters is please, I was willing to die in the ring, and for me at the moment, fighting was everything. But what I want fighters to understand is there is life after fighting, and to become a top martial artist like John Jones, the discipline, the perseverance that you develop, you don't get that good with just by chance or just by luck. You gotta work and you gotta learn that discipline. Don't leave that in the ring, man. That you need to understand that everything that you're learning and growing as a martial artist, as a fighter, is a person that you're creating, and make sure that that is transferred onto your life after fighting. That's what something like John Jones hasn't understood yet. Come on, that guy is so good. His discipline and perseverance in training must be impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to fall apart and go in the car intoxicated, Conor McGregor punching someone in the face, an older man in the face because he's mad.
But I just want to touch on that. That old man took that punch like a champ. So
he did. Yeah. But if Conor or John, if they applied 10% of the discipline and strength that they've attained as a fighter, man, that shit wouldn't happen, man.
No.
Remember, fighters, just remember, all you're learning isn't just for fighting, it's for you as a man, as a person, and it's for your after fighting life, man. I mean, if you guys transfer that to afterlife, man, you're going to be coming out such a stronger, better person, man.
And I think the jiu-jitsu aspect, the MMA aspect, it's an escape. You have a bad day, you're having issues in your relationship, you're having problems at work, like whatever. The minute you walk into that dojo, leave it. Leave it all back.
Yep.
But in a sense, you're leaving it as a vocal thing. You're leaving it as, I'm not going to tell everybody what's going on. But every roll, every minute you're on the mat is 1 minute less of pushing that away. It's 1 minute less of worrying about this or that or whatever the case may be. Because there's nights I walk out, I am exhausted, but I am refreshed.
Yeah. It takes your mind off everything. Jiu-jitsu is like therapy, man.
It's better than therapy. It costs a lot less.
Yeah, true. I got my kois now, like raising kois, and they're like my therapy now, man.
Listen, man, nobody's going to make fun of you. Just
As my babies, man.
Well, Enson, I think this is a good point to cut it. I honestly, if we kept talking, it'd be going for hours. So I'd love to have you on again because that was just brilliant. I mean, I know I say every show is my favorite, but I'm like, this is gonna be hard to top because you told stories that haven't been told. You haven't been given that platform. Did I ever think that anything that we talked about would go the way it was? No. It's been even better. And again, like watching some of the interviews you've done before, like you like to have fun. And everybody thinks everybody's so serious. Now, granted, I still think Rickson is probably the most serious person in all of martial arts.
Yeah, he is serious.
I'll never forget the first time I watched Rickson fight. And he did this, and he just did that walk, the diagonal walk straight across the ring.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on the couch, and I moved away from the TV. Because I was like, that dude scares me. I was like, but that's like, if I'm that scared, I'm like, the dude across from him has to be terrified.
Yeah, Rickson's amazing.
So it's one of those things where, jiu-jitsu, I wish I had started it way, way sooner. I got into it 7 years ago. I almost had my arm broke by a kid who was brand new, and I got away from it. But I say, I keep saying I wish I got into it sooner, but I feel like my appreciation and my understanding of why we do what we do and how it affects my life has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
I know unless I am sick, throwing up, like I could have the worst day in the world. I'm like, all right, it's time to go to class. Like, like, you gotta go. Oh, I
started jiu-jitsu 33 years ago, and I still wish I started sooner.
See, that makes me feel a ton better.
Yeah, you're gonna always feel that because it's such a good thing.
Yeah, and absolutely, and there's just nothing like it, and it's like we talked about. It's not wins, losses. It's not an ego thing, but it is an ego thing because you have to leave your ego aside. You can't go in there going, "I'm the best person in here," and I believe that in the same way that this blue belt A and blue belt B from two different academies are going to have two different skill sets. Their school might have focused more, like you said, Barambola or De La Riva, whereas we focus more on guard passing and, Turtle, which I love Turtle. So, yeah, I know. I'm not a small dude. I know you can't tell.
I got my black belt bracelet on, too.
Oh, man, I need one of those.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? It's like resembled the black belt.
That is amazing. Where'd you get that?
It has the kanji of jiu-jitsu on it.
Oh my god!
In the middle, in the center stone.
That is jiu-jitsu. So cool. Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to say it like Brazilian, like it just jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
You know that jiu-jitsu is actually spelled Jujutsu. It's actually jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
They just changed it to jiu-jitsu because the kanji that they use. That's the kanji of Jiu-Jitsu. It's from Japan. It's from Japan.
So basically, you're going to go from black belt to, explainer of things, like origin training, because that's crazy.
Well, they don't accept my black belt, so maybe I'll have to go in that direction.
So my professor actually texted me. Because I was going to bring him on. I was like, hey, if you want to say something to Enson, I was like, why not? And
cool.
And he was like, just tell him he's got a lot of OG fans that say, fuck the IBJJF.
Right on. Who's your instructor?
Professor Mike Geary. So we're in Florida. So.
Shit. I've never been to Florida, man.
Dude, if you ever come to Florida, I don't care if you come to Tallahassee, which is at the top, Miami at the bottom, you let me know. We will get together, because I would be honored just to hang out and learn from a purple belt. Just kidding. So Enson, on behalf of Combat Press, Epic Jits, the maker of my awesome shirt.
Nice.
And he has a black belt, so maybe they'll recognize that one. So
they might if he pays his dues.
So, on behalf of everybody, Enson Inoue, thank you, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, man. Right on, man. Give my love to all your boys at Jiu-Jitsu class.
Will do.